With WWE telling students that life ends after leaving the company, details on Andrade's AEW deal, and John Cena wanting to throw down with The Rock. This is Wrestling Up. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for June 6th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Up and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. When it comes to the female superstars released by WWE recently, WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella wrote, "I've been shocked to say the least about some of these releases lately at WWE. Wanted to write a thank you post to the women that have given their everything to the wrestling industry. Mind, body, soul, and time. I was so honored to share the ring with some of you, and the ones I hadn't, I was so looking forward to one day sharing it. Ruby Riott, you were one of my favorite matches. You are such a selfless, kind, and incredibly talented woman. Mickie James, you were an icon. I always hope to have a badass storyline with you. I know we could have created magic. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, goodness, our future wrote itself. Brie Bella and I were dreaming of fighting for the tag titles against the both of you. You two were a magic duo. Lana, you shined in and out of that ring. Loved your Total Divas days and traveling the world together. So many amazing laughs and memories. And Chelsea Green was super excited to see what you were going to bring. Thank you all for the entertainment and the memories. I know the future is so bright for you all. Can't wait to follow you all wherever you may go." During AEW Dynamite Friday, Miro made reference to his wife, with many thinking that with the release of Lana, she could be making her way to the upstart promotion. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer would note, "Rusev was trying to get her in. You could tell from that promo he's trying to get her in. You know, more power to him. They had a great act. We'll have to see what's next for Lana, as AEW has always seemed like a possible option for her post-WWE career." With him reportedly injured after his zombie lumberjack match against Damian Priest at Backlash, The Miz talked about his situation with Forbes. "Just look at all the news out there. They must be right about my injury, right? They're reporting on it, telling you exactly what's going on. They must know. They must be geniuses. I was looking on Twitter, and then I was looking on the news sites that were talking about my injury, and I'm like, first off, how do they know? Because I've never said anything, and they're saying things wrong, like all wrong. And it's annoying, I guess you can say, because I heard I was out 9 months. I don't expect to be out 9 months. As a matter of fact, I was on Monday Night Raw last week, and I plan on being on Monday Night Raw next week. Now, when will I have a real match? I don't know. That's for the doctors to decide and figure out. But I feel like $1,000,000. And the way my headspace is, I don't like to be gone for long. Coming off an ACL injury, Miz is a road of recovery ahead of him as fans hope to see him back in action. On the Angle podcast, Carlito talked about his Royal Rumble 2021 and subsequent Raw appearance, saying it was just the Rumble, and I think the day before the Rumble, they asked if I can do Raw too, and I said, yeah, sure, whatever you guys need. That's all we talked about. It was Raw and the Rumble. I've had no communication since the Raw appearance. When asked if there were other roles in WWE that interest him, Carlito responded, yeah, a producer role or a trainer role. All of that kind of sounds intriguing. I'm willing to listen to whatever at this point. But I think those would be interesting, helping out the younger guys and help them develop, which would be something new for me. I think I'd find it fun to do. Andrade made his AEW debut on Dynamite Friday night with Raj Giri of Wrestling Inc., saying he met with President Tony Khan the week of his WWE release, since there was no 90-day non-compete clause. Still, there was no initial deal. Negotiations stalled because of Andrade's demands, which included wanting creative control and veto power on losing. There was a compromise made on that, and he will have a limited amount of creative control on his finishes. Reportedly, Andrade signed with AEW this week, with him being in talks with Impact Wrestling, being pretty close to making at least a one-off appearance prior. On his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T touched on WWE releasing Braun Strowman, mentioning possible issues with him joining AEW. That's the thing, Braun runs through that whole roster. I really rely on the past in certain ways to fuel what we got going on today. Just imagine, we may not be talking about Kevin Nash the way we talk about him if he wasn't the bodyguard for Shawn Michaels in the beginning. The way Big Kev was introduced, he wasn't a guy that was just thrown out there to be a star. He was a star and the fans knew it, and they wanted to get behind them because he was big sexy, big daddy cool diesel. He had some charisma and the fans gravitated to that. A guy like Strowman, we just threw him out there to become a star, and sometimes it's really difficult when you're put out there under the bright lights to pull it off. Not saying that he didn't do a hell of a job, but being introduced the way that he was as the monster among men, he had to be bigger than everybody else every single night. To rise to that occasion, man, that's a rough task. There's like 2 matches over there for him. Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Miro. There's 2 or 3 guys that Strowman can face. Mark Henry? Compared to the rest of the AEW roster, Strowman would certainly stand out, as this issue Booker mentioned about joining this promotion was the same given for Braun's booking troubles in WWE. As the Hall of Famer feels, Strowman had issues with WWE trying to get him credible opposition. On Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer brought up WWE's recent releases, revealing something interesting that trainees are told, saying they teach you when you're there. I think a lot of fans don't know this. When you're there, they teach you that your life ends if you leave. A lot of guys have left, especially the ones in AEW have gone. My life didn't end and I left. A lot of the other guys are like, you know, it's like I'm not broke, there's places to go and indie stuff and things like that. There's a fear, and that's why a lot of people don't go, because, and you know, especially women. Of course, there are plenty of opportunities outside of WWE, which could be indicative of WWE's fear of competition. Talking with Geek Culture, John Cena mentioned the possibility of meeting The Rock in a future Fast film, saying, I don't know if that'll happen, and that's very much up to the Fast audience to decide. As the Fast saga grows and evolves, I'm excited for a possible moment like that, but there's no guarantee. I hope it happens, and if the audiences around the world hope the same thing, who knows? Coming off controversy for calling Taiwan a country, Cena will hope to distance himself from that negative press and continue to make his mark in Hollywood. Prior to his shocking release, there were plenty of plans in place for Aleister Black, as he looked to be going through a career revival on SmackDown. With him being let go, he took to Twitch to reveal the entrance theme he was set to use. On Wrestling with Brandon F. Walker, WWE Hall of Famer Shawn Michaels was asked if he considers himself the greatest of all time. With him responding, I don't. But it's funny when you're younger because certainly you do. But I don't know. I now have the ability to see everything in the rearview mirror. Technically at 56, I am back to where I was at 19, where I was just realizing that my idea of success was having a card and a 1-bedroom apartment, and maybe one of the main guys in a local territory in South Texas. Obviously, it has become so much more. I am now unbelievably flattered that I got mentioned. Look, people argue about it, whether who is or who isn't, and my name is in there, and that to me is good enough. That is beyond my wildest dreams. Those things never get determined, and every generation is different. Again, I'm just glad to be at this point in my life and look back on a really cool body of work that I'm proud of. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.